My name is NURHIDAYAH. So I proceed with the introduction of local government. Local government is a sector that operates within or among other sectors. Higher government establish a single entity to deal with local issues that represent the power, whether from the federal government or the state government, which has limited financial and administrative autonomy, the ability to sue and be sued by others, and legal property. In Malaysia, local government, being the third tier of government in Malaysia, also plays a significant role for furthering federal and state policies and facilitating the implementation of appropriate initiatives and programs. Local Government Act 171 can be defined as an act to reform and harmonise the laws connected to local government in Malaysia, according to 1976 Akta Kerajaan Tempatan 2015. Apart from that, the act is helpful for the only purpose of ensuring a quality of law and policy in the making of laws pertaining to local government, and it is the primary act that governs the function and privilege of local government in our country. Local government is the third tier of government in Malaysia, and it plays a vital role in expanding policies and implementing appropriate initiatives and programs passed by federal and state government. The development of British influence in the region coincided with the establishment of local government in Malaysia. Next, the Local Government Act of 1976, Malay Akta Kerajaan Tempatan 1976, is a Malaysian law that was passed to reform and consolidate local government regulation, and it only applies to Peninsular Malaysia. Act 171 has remained in its original shape for the past 4 decades, with 166 sections and 2 schedules separated into 16 parts. Next, I will explain about environmental protection and building control. Environmental protection refers to the role of local authority in preventing environmental deviations. Environmental protection is critical because it links to the safety and social being of residents in that area. In other words, environmental protection is concerned with issues such as conservation, pollution, biodiversity loss, land degradation, and environmental policy that arise from the interaction of humans and natural systems, whereby building control is the responsibility of the authority to inspect and check the criteria, requirements, and security of the structure to ensure that it meets its standard. Building control is essential because the construction activity complies with building laws, which are a collection of guidelines designed to protect people's safety, health, and welfare in and around construct environment. Local authority has been focused on these types of responsibility because it is a very serious matter and difficult to implement the policy and delivering service in the public. Moreover, there are several issues that arise regarding environmental protection and building control that local authority in the local area need to take an action determinedly. One of the issues that occurs in the local area is the problem of solid waste, which is typical in most of Malaysia's local areas. Because there are so many and disposal take much longer, the local government is having difficulty managing and disposing of the solid water. For instance, the Municipal Council of Subanjaya has a problem with workers working on building sites illegally throwing rubbish from the ongoing development. As a result, local authorities in the area have taken legal action against anyone who engage in the illegal behavior. As a result of the issue, it can be inferred that the issue of solid waste is still a concern in most local areas. By that, the Ministry of Housing and Local Government has devised a plan to outsource the organisation in charge of waste disposal so that it can be managed effectively and efficiently. Solid Waste Management, which is responsible for managing solid waste in most local areas, is currently the agency in charge of this activity. In Section 69, state that any person who commits in a nuisance or deposit any filth in or open the bank of any stream, channel, public drain or other watercourse within the local authority area shall be guilty of an offence and shall on conviction be liable to a fine not exceeding 2,000 ringgit or to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 1 year or with both, and to a further fine not exceeding 500 ringgit for each day during which the offence is continued after conviction. This provision state that a local authority has the power to sue any person or individual who breach the provision by illegally throwing rubbish into a river. A fine of not more than Rm 5,000 can be imposed on the defendant, or the person can be imprisoned for the act. The person can also face both punishment, and if they continue the act in the same way, they will be punished Rm 500 ringgit for each day after the action has been taken against them. Other than that, the local authority in local government also have the power or function on the building control. The building control gives the local government the authority and jurisdiction to inspect all public building in the local government area to ensure that they comply with the local authorities' building requirement and standard. For example, Kuala Lumpur City Hall is in charge of ensuring that all buildings in the Federal Territory of Kuala Lumpur are safe, comfortable to use and suitable for human settlement. The Building Department of Kuala Lumpur City Hall is in charge of building control, and it also has the authority to protect people's interests from illegal action in many aspects of construction work, with the goal of prioritize public safety and comfort. Many common infractions have been committed, including the construction of structure without sufficient license, leaving abandoned buildings, and neglect the needed level of safety or the construction sites. Thus, before the building can be fully operated, the owner of the building need to get the application for the certificate of fitness to be issued by the local authority. The objective of this certificate is for the local authority to certify that the building is in a good condition and meets all of the conditions outlined in Section 133 of the Street Drainage and Building Act 1974.
Thank you for the previous presenter. Now I will explain about the second function, which is public amenities. Public amenities has stated under the Part 7 of Act 171, where in Section 64 subsection A, it is stated that a local authority may provide, construct, arrange or designate new place. Public amenities are services and infrastructure provided by the local government for public use. For example, we have sport complex, bus terminals, bus stops, and community halls. These public amenities are contained in the local government act, where the local government is the authority to plan and provide public amenities. This is because local authorities are in line with the community. Besides that, maintenance duties are the responsibility of the local government to inspect each public amenities after the occurrence of damage. This is because maintenance for every public amenities is very, very important to ensure that everyone can use it safely. Pursuant to Part 7, which is further powers of local government in Section 66, it stated that a local authority may erect and maintain buildings in any public place open for public purposes and may designate any such public or any which part thereof for such purposes as the local authority thinks fit from time to time. For example, the Petaling Jaya City Council and BPJ continues its social responsibility to Petaling Jaya by providing free bus services in the Petaling Jaya area. This initiative is also a measure to encourage the use of public transport as well as develop the public transport infrastructure sector. Next, according to Section 101, subsection C, subsection 2, under Part 7 of the Additional Powers of Local Authorities, it is stated that local authorities may construct, acquire, lease, arrange, develop, equip, maintain on land for intended to be used as a gymnasium and community center. This means that local governments are responsible in the process of maintaining public facilities and take proactive measures in ensuring that all available facilities remain in good conditions. For example, the local Selangor state government has allocated up to millions of ringgit to redevelop sport complex in Selangor. This is because the state government is very sensitive and concerned in providing sports facilities to all people in the states for all levels of society. Next, I would like to furthermore, I would like to explain about the next function, which is public health and sanitation. In creating a clean and sustainable country, local governments plays a very important role in improving environmental cleanliness and environmental sustainability. This is because there are very hygiene issues that can have a negative impact in creating a conducive environment. Therefore, the local government has the power as provided in Section 72, subsection A, under Part 9, where it was stated that local authority has the power to carry out sanitation services to dispose all types of waste, including animal carcasses and waste liquids. For example, the Solid Waste Management and Public Cleansing Corporation (SW Corp) has been established as an agency under local governments to implement recycling practice and waste segregation at source systematically while emphasizing these features of sustainable development. Furthermore, pursuant in the same part, which is in Section 72, subsection J, it was stated that local government has the power to regulate, inspect, and license the use of public toilets. As we know, the local government has provided public toilets, especially in public recreation places, for the convenience of the public. To maintain the cleanliness and comfort of users, the local government recruits contractors to clean and maintain public toilets. In fact, each public toilet will be assessed from a certificate of regulations recognized by the local authority. The cleaner the public toilet environment, the higher the recognition and scoring earned. For example, the Seremban City Council will inspect public toilets around the city of Seremban to give regulations so it can maintain the good name of Seremban and set a good example to other countries. This means not only local authorities play a vital role, we as citizens should also be responsible for maintaining cleanliness and not place full reliance on the local government. Apart from that, local government also has the power to enter and clean houses or buildings as provided in Section 75. This power can be used when certain issues arise, such as very dirty houses, environment that affects the comfort of other residents. For example, the Kelang Municipal Council carried out Op Sapu by knocking on the door of every houses inhabited by foreigners to clean their houses. Therefore, it can maintain the safety of all residents and can prevent the infection disease.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very pleasant morning. I bid to Sir Ibrahim as our lecturer for this code. My name is HUSNA binti Mansor, and today I'd like to continue our presentation by explaining the other main functions stipulated within Act 171. So first of all, towards precising the other function of Local Government Act 1976 provided that the local authority enroll its viable tasks in executing the town and planning control function. Thus, in ensuring a better performance of local government function under the Act 171, it is generous that the Town and Country Planning Act 1976 acts as a legislation that will proportionately helps in increasing the local government efficiency of performing this kind of function. Subsequently, this legislation will empower the local government to play much active as well as specific roles within the local development, as well as making its developmental implementation in urban management to become more effective. Based on the Act 172, the Act has vested the power as well as the responsibility of the local government in conducting the administration of town planning, decision-making process of the land use planning, as well as controlling the developmental activities within the local authority areas. Disclosing to the town planning and control function, Section 5 subsection A of Act 172 provided that local government were obligated to perform few local planning authorities, which consists of the role of monitoring, controlling and plan the development and use of land and building within its jurisdiction. By virtue of this provision, the local government plays a significant function in preparing a local plan that will guide the planning development within the local authority area. In order to explain the actual term of local plan, it is actually referred to a written statement that has been made to disclose the policy set out in the structure plan, whereby it should be consist of the diagram of detailed planning, rules and regulation of the executing proposal within the structure plan of local authority area. Consequently, it will ensure that the developmental planning comply the requirements stipulated within Local Government Act 1976 and the development plan rules. Other than that, local government also responsible in planning and enforcing the law that will ensure well-managed as well as organized local authority areas as their controlling function. For instance, local government were actually entrusted to execute the governmental policy enhancing the economic well-being and control over any land developmental activities, such as by making it necessary to issue permission for any development activities within the local area. That's all from me, and I would like to say thank you before ending up my part. I will pass this presentation to the next presenter.
To further, I will explain about the main provisions in Act 171 that enhance its financial powers, which is the first one is revenue of local authority. Local Act 171 has given legal power to local governments to collect revenue from any particular resources. This is because the scope for local authorities to source revenue is broad as stated in Section 39 under Part 5. It is essential that authorities recognize when cost recovery is appropriate and can demonstrate that they are doing everything they can to guarantee that fees and charges are administered properly and effectively. According to Section 39, Subsection B, local governments are allowed to collect all charges or profits arising from any trade, service, or undertaking carried on by the local authority under the authority vested in it. For example, local authorities can collect revenue from charges imposed on anyone who wants to register their business with the Companies Commission of Malaysia, SSM. This is because those who want to register have to pay a charge to get the certificate. So this is one of the way of government to collect the charge or profits arising from the trade. Besides, local government are also allowed to collect revenue from 1 ringgit service charges imposed on outpatients, such as payment for registration and checkups at clinics and public hospitals. Furthermore, the next provision in Section 39, Subsection C, which revenue collection can be obtained from all interest on any money invested by the local authority and all income arising from the movement from the movable and immovable property of the local authority. Movable property is property that is not in the form of land or houses. For instance, bank savings, cash, jewelry, and employees' provident fund (EPF) savings. Meanwhile, immovable property is land or interest on is such as land leased as a mine together with its interest, flats, and an interest in a mortgage or lease. For example, in terms of immovable property, the Department of the Director General of Federal Lands and Mines, JKPTG, has the role of managing federal government lands by way of purchase, reservation, and application to the state government to implement projects for the benefit of the people. This means that the local government is responsible for coordinating the collections of state land revenue and has the power to transfer land to those who are entitled. Thank you. That's all from me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Moving forward to the next part, in enhancing the local government financial condition, the legislation has provided sort of financial authority of the local government that can be seen within Part 5 of Local Government Act 1976, or specifically known as General Financial Provision. To discuss it further, Section 39 subsection A within this part of the Act provided few sources of revenues that may be obtained by the local authority, which consists of the taxes, rents, license fees, rates and other charges that must be paid to the local authority as stipulated within the provision of any other legislation. Generally, the following revenues are the funds that will enhance and helps the local authority in carrying their wide range duty, such as to provide the public amenities, providing better health services and facilities, carrying out the environmental protection, and to play few other local authority functions for the well-being of the residents within one local authority area. Thus, the local authority inter alia, the municipal council, district council and city council are now having their financial power and not only rely on the state and federal funds for them to strengthen their financial condition in serving the best for the citizens and carrying out the local area development. To illustrate this point with an example, local government was actually entitled to collect few taxes, rents and rates such as the property tax, income tax and assessment tax, wheat rent and parcel rent and others. In short, the charges contributed in ensuring the residents' well-being is one of the ways to increase their efficiency as well as enhancing their financial power for the local development. Other than that, to discuss further on the local authority revenue as part of the local authority financial power, Section 39 subsection B of this Act appointed that local authority entitled to any profit made by any services, trade, enterprise or contract acted out by the local government under the power vested on it. To explain this statement within Malaysian context, the local government has the authority to issue license to those who wish to start the business, whereby they must first seek authorization from the local government and the agencies concerned, and then apply for the license once they have been authorized. Besides, the following provision, which is Section 39 subsection C of this Act, has further mentioned the other revenue of local authority that also includes all interest on any money invested by the local authority and revenue derived from local authority's property, either it is movable or immovable. Thus, it is undeniable that Section 39 of the Local Government Act 1976 is the provision that aims to guide the local authority on their basis of generating revenue. Overall, it is also crucial to point out that local authority should be entitled to more provision that will give definite authority not only within the financial area but also other fields that will widen their opportunity to perform their function much effective.
Next, I would like to explain about power to raise loan. The financial position of local government has been an important agenda since the establishment of local government. Thus, the Local Government Act 1976 Act 171 has given the legal power to local authorities to collect revenue and obtain revenue from certain sources. According to Section 41, among the revenue from local authorities is the power of local authorities to raise loan. The Local Government Act also states that the local authority can obtain loans from financial institutions, state governments and the central government. However, the purpose of borrowing should include predetermined needs. It is for the purpose of paying the expenses of land acquisition, erecting a building, carrying out a permanent job and settling available loans. The main sources of loans made by local authorities are from the federal and state government, yet only large local government with skilled staff will be given loans as it can guarantee to repayment and efficiency for good management.
Hi, my name is SYAUQINA and right now I'm going to present about the Local Authority Fund. So basically, under the Local Government Act 171, there is provision which specifically discuss about the financial power in the local government. So under Part 5 of the General Financial Provisions, we have 3 subsections under Section 40. So firstly, under Section 40 subsection 1, all the money received by the local authority officers by virtue of this Act or in any other written law shall constitute a fund to be called as Local Authority Fund. Not only that, the local authority officer also have the power to manage, direct and control that fund money they receive under this Act. To make sure that all the money received by the local authority officer is not being used for any other reason or being taken for granted for their own use, we have another law under the General Financial Provision, which is Section 40, Subsection 2, whereby it stated that all the money received under the local authority fund shall be launched on current or deposit account with one or more banks licensed under the Banking and Financial Institution Act 1989. This is very good because we can see from here, we can see the transparency of the governance under the local government. Not only that, we can also see the money flow from this account when it is being audited later. Next, under Section 40, Subsection 3, all orders or checks against the said fund shall be signed by 2 official officers in writing form. In this way, the money of local authority fund can be protected and be more secure. From here, we can see the effectiveness of this act in helping the local government to be more efficient and effective in their own way. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Adam Haris bin ANUAR. So I would like to talk about the power of local authority to issue mortgage and or debenture stock. Firstly, the local authority must secure all of any money which is it authorized to borrow under section by 41 by mortgage or charge or by the creation and issue of debenture stock. Secondly, the conditions of issue mortgage such as charges and the debenture stock is stated by subject to the approval of the state authority declared at the time of such issue. Next, the local authority shall make in respect of debenture stock issued by it under provision of this act. Under the provision of this act of regulation is providing for which are the form of the prospectus to be issued and the form of such debenture stock of any of them under 34 laws of Malaysia Act 171. The establishment and the maintenance in such form as may be prescribed of a register of registers of such debenture stock and the owner for the time being used. Moreover, all such regulations must be submitted to the state authority for approval, then published in the Gazette once approved. We gonna publish it after the state authority approve. Lastly, any register kept in compliance with the applicable of any such of regulations shall be proof of any matters directed or permitted to be written therein, as well as of each person titled to debenture stock if they are registered therein as owners of the debenture stock, become the owner of the debenture stock. Thank you.
The first common criticism arises within the local government function is the capability in managing their territory. As we are concerned with regard of the rapid globalization, people's level of education and knowledge as a taxpayer are increasing. Thus, the expectation for greater services are higher and subsequently constrain the local government to be more capable and adaptable to serve their needs and demand. By virtue of that, towards eliminating the issue arises and fulfill its function as the local area administrators, it becomes crucial for the local government to adapt their working style to be more responsive to the residents. Other than that, the second issue that has never been eliminated and entirely affected the local government function is the issue of inadequate local government financing to cater the local area development. One of the initial challenges for local government in this country is obtaining adequate funds. whether in the form of grants, assigned revenues, or capital financing, to give the Local Government Act meaning. Besides, it has been discovered that the fund generated by the local government is actually insufficient, and that extra funding from the state as well as the federal government is actually required. Moving to the next issues faced by the local government in practicing their function is the limitation in enforcement of laws, as well as the intervention of higher government autonomy. As an example, considering the issues that arise when the local government intervene in the administration, it is critical to avoid any interference of the other management, as this will have impacted on the services and functions provided to the people within its jurisdiction. If there is any intervention, such as those from the upper level in the administrative problems, it will result in some disagreement between the governments in terms of roles and responsibility.
Thank you for the previous presenter. So now I'm going to talk about the recommendation that we can do to improve the performance of local government. So firstly, the recommendation that we can do is to appoint an expert in the local council. This is because in Malaysia, some of the people who serve in the local council are not an expert in this field. That is why some people can compromise and complain about the supremacy, integrity, and also the work that this local council did. To stop this thing from keep happening in the future, the government needs to start hiring a person who are an expert, as for example, such as architecture, lawyers, and even doctor. And also a person who are free from any political parties, so that when they did their job, they are free from any biased work, and also can promote a good governance to the local government. So next, the second recommendation is that the local government can provide ongoing training and skill workshop to their employees. This is very important because nowadays we are in the current pandemic COVID-19, whereby some of us are required to do work from home. By providing ongoing training and skill workshop to their employees, it can enhance their capabilities and competency in doing their job properly. As for example, the government can provide training skill to experts in Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and also Microsoft Excel. The third recommendation is to promote a constant quality control. Normally, quality control are being conducted and audited at the end of the year. As for example, in Malaysia, we are using a KPI-like system to check the performance of their employees. Through continuous quality control, it can improve the quality of service provided by the local government, and therefore, it can give a good reputation and good image towards the local government services.
Hi, back to me again. For the conclusion, we have discussed that the main role help to improve the performance of local government in terms of function of local government. It provides provision to the local government to do its function, such as in town planning and control, social function, public health and sanitation, environmental protection, and building control and public amenities. It's stated that the power of local government in Malaysia can be used in its district and exercising its own function, which is local government exercising their own regulation and law towards its own state. Next, among them are well-known functions such as social care, schools, housing and planning, and waste collection. And the goal of local governments is two-sided. The first is to deliver products and service in an administrative capacity, and the second one is to represent or involve individuals in establishing specific local public needs and how these requirements might be satisfied. So this shows that local government is very, very, very important in providing an organized system where councils exercise their power and responsibility to work together for peace. Besides, local government help the main government, to ensure all the rules and legislation applied smoothly for citizens in an organized group, which is state by state. Thank you.